Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and Call of Duty is just doing so good right now, isn't it? What you're watching is a new hack, or who knows, maybe it's been around for a long time, where cheaters are able to just manually boot players out of Black Ops 6 pretty much whenever they want, and I'm sure the same thing is happening in Warzone. We already saw cheats in the past where hackers are able to mass report other players and get them banned or shadow banned. We've seen zombies wonder weapons like the ray gun, and now more recently the ice staff being brought into multiplayer and Warzone, just killing people left and right. And then there's all the other stuff going on, like the wall hacks, the aimbot, and even some of the softer stuff out there, because the smart cheaters are the ones who use things that aren't super obvious to other players, like for example having way stronger aim assist. Stuff like that could be running rampant throughout multiplayer in Warzone, and it's much harder to detect for other players, which is why a lot of the times these hackers don't get banned. But even then, the people that are super blatant about everything, they don't tend to get banned either, which is a huge problem with the anti-cheat here in this game. When we went into Season 2 of Black Ops 6, Activision told us that the anti-cheat was updated with X, Y, and Z, and things were going to be better, and the servers were going to be better, and way more stable and everything, and none of that was true. It was an absolute lie, and the proof is in the numbers here, man. People are not buying it. The new content with Season 2 is not enough to bring players back. The anti-cheat apparently being fixed, even though it's not, was not enough to bring players back, because even with Season 2 launching, it peaked at half the player count of the Season 2 launch that we had back during Modern Warfare 3, and they still haven't actually gained anything when it comes to average players on the Steam platform. Now, when it comes to the Steam platform, there is something really important I want to cover here in today's video, because I remember hearing something about this back in the day, but I didn't really look too much into it or do too much of a deep dive, but I want to do that here today, because it really proves just how badly Black Ops 6 is doing right now. So, in June of 2023, when Microsoft was trying to purchase Activision, there was a hearing, and Bobby Kotick, who was the CEO of Activision at the time, he said in that hearing of the FTC versus Microsoft that Call of Duty as a whole has 100 million monthly active users. The bulk of those players were playing Call of Duty Mobile on their phones, and then 25% of the player base were playing COD on PC, 15 to 16% playing on PlayStation, and 7 to 8% of the player base playing on Xbox. Now, if you round those numbers up here, this means that 51% of COD players are on mobile, 25% are on PC, 16% on PlayStation, and 8% on Xbox. And these numbers are pretty freaking wild when you look at it this way. Like, no wonder they don't seem to care that much about Black Ops 6 and Warzone when over half their players are on mobile, and now they have Warzone mobile as well, so I can only imagine how crazy the mobile numbers are. And it goes to show that what we have, like Call of Duty, what we traditionally think of as Call of Duty, that's not even the biggest cash cow for Activision anymore. It's all about mobile gaming, essentially. And when we're talking about the traditional COD, that only puts us at 49 million monthly active users in July of 2023. I'm sure that since then, things have switched around quite a bit with the Game Pass transition and Microsoft taking over. Maybe more people went back to Xbox because PlayStation no longer has exclusivity. Maybe the Xbox and PlayStation numbers are a bit more in line thanks to Game Pass pumping up their numbers, but overall, the Call of Duty player base is likely still the same now as it was back then, because keep in mind, this was all said during the Modern Warfare 2 life cycle, and while Modern Warfare 2 was not regarded as a very good COD, it still sold ridiculously well when compared to Modern Warfare 3 and had way more players playing it than a game like Black Ops 6. What we can learn from this is when we talk about the Call of Duty player numbers on Steam, those numbers are much more important than a lot of those naysayers out there are claiming. As recently as the launch of Modern Warfare 3, the PC player base has outnumbered the console player base, even though people tend to say that's the opposite. They say that the vast majority of players are on console. No, PC players slightly outnumber console players, so when we see Call of Duty falling off a cliff on Steam like it is currently, that is a massive cause for concern. In fact, if you're thinking to yourself that when Bobby Kotick made those statements, it was during the Modern Warfare 2 life cycle, and therefore the numbers might be lower than usual, when we look at Steam charts, Call of Duty actually had more active players in June of 2023 than it does right now. That's pretty freaking mind-blowing. And there's also this narrative, and people love to make claims about things that are literally impossible to confirm, but there's this idea being spread around that like the vast majority of Call of Duty's PC player base are on Battle.net as compared to Steam. To that, I just don't know what to tell these people. It's clear that they're just like Call of Duty only people, essentially, because Steam is the biggest PC gaming platform in the world. Everybody knows Steam, everybody loves Steam. Games that don't go on Steam typically die, and there are tons of people out there who won't even buy a game on PC if they can't get it on Steam. Well, years ago, Call of Duty tried to avoid the Steam tax by putting a few games on Battle.net, most notably Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, and Vanguard, but ever since then, so the last 3 or 4 years now, they've also made it so each new Call of Duty title is available on both Battle.net as well as Steam, and because we don't have access to the Battle.net player numbers, we'll never know exactly what percentage percentage of the player base is on what launcher, but it doesn't matter. When Call of Duty as a whole has lost 63% of its player base on Steam, that same trend is going to be happening on every platform as well, to greater or lesser extents. It's not like we're talking about losing 5% here, maybe a 7% dip there. 63 is the percent of average players Call of Duty has lost going from November to this very moment. Maybe that number is a bit lower on PlayStation, maybe it's a bit higher on Xbox, does not matter. 63% players lost is fucking massive, especially when it's on the biggest platform for the game, PC, right? We were talking about Modern Warfare 2 earlier. Do you guys know how long it took that game to reach player numbers this low, even knowing that Modern Warfare 2 was not a well-received game? 7 or 8 months. That is how long it took, and Black Ops 6 managed to do that in only 2. If that is not the ultimate eye-opener as to how poorly Black Ops 6 and Warzone are doing this year, then I don't know what else would be. So what will Activision do about this? Well, likely nothing, man, and that's the worst part about this, because their plan seems to be basically just doing nothing, because even with Call of Duty doing as poorly as it has been on Steam, when Season 2 dropped, that Black Cell $30 premium battle pass became one of the top-selling things on the Steam store. Call of Duty went from being a game that would just have hundreds of millions of monthly players and making their money from sales to basically just becoming a glorified storefront. They're selling less copies of the game than they used to, but they're now able to milk the whales of this franchise with microtransactions each and every year, which is why they don't like to have carry forward, by the way. They want to reset those microtransactions every single year because they want to milk those whales as much as humanly possible. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they make much more money from microtransactions each year than they do from actual game sales. Their entire YouTube channel is dedicated to showing off everything in the shop and buying all the skins, and it makes so much sense for Activision to try to cater the game to that style of player, because back in the day, they would get $60 from us, and that would be pretty much it. Maybe we would buy a battle pass, maybe we would buy some map packs, but for a lot of people, it was a $60 transaction, and that was it. Well, now it's a $70 transaction with countless little $10, $20, $30 transactions being thrown in on top of that. Oh, what's that? It's payday? Well, why not drop $25 on the new bundle? Oh, the Black Cell Battle Pass skins look pretty sick this season. I'll pay $30 for that. You know, and I don't blame those people necessarily, right? Because at the end of the day, $20 here and $30 there is not that big of a deal and won't break the bank for a lot of people. Hell, my girlfriend and I go out for dinner, we're talking like a minimum of $30 or $40 right there, right? And that's just for one meal. So when people buy these things in game, they can justify it to themselves. And I am a firm believer that you are free to spend your money however you see fit, because if you like something in the shop, you think it's going to enhance your gameplay experience of your favorite game, go for it. It really does not bother me whatsoever, but the problem lies with how many people are doing it, because Activision has started to make so much money off of microtransactions despite the quality of the game being in the toilet, and that gives them zero incentive to actually address any of these issues. We've learned from watching what's been going on over the course of the past couple of months that losing a substantial amount of their player base does not concern them that much. They just keep putting the game on sale, and by the way, it's literally on sale on Steam right now for 30% off. All I did was open up the Steam store and there it was, first thing I saw. But yeah, they're just going to keep putting the game on sale. They're just going to keep collecting their microtransaction and Black Cell money, and then they're going to hope that relaunching Verdansk next season is going to fix all the problems. Like, they don't really care about the overall player base because they make the majority of their money from microtransactions and mobile gaming. Like, actual Call of Duty itself is like pretty much dead right now, and that's especially true when you think about the fact that the only thing that COD players really have to look forward to with the remainder of this game's life cycle is them re-releasing a Warzone map. That's literally their game plan for the remainder of the Black Ops 6 life cycle, it seems like, though I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for them to actually work on the game. I would love for the hacking situation not to be a problem. I would especially love for matchmaking to be fun again, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon, because Call of Duty itself is probably at the very bottom of their actual priority list. For them, it's mobile gaming, and then microtransactions, and then Warzone, and then at the very bottom would probably be things like the actual traditional multiplayer along with zombies, man. It just does not make them as much money as they used to, so they don't put as much effort, energy, or resources into those areas of the game. But even with that said, I will still be here with you guys every step of the way as we navigate the stormy waters that have been the Call of Duty franchise this year, and I'll keep you guys up to date as we learn more and as more information comes out. But for right now, I'm going to wrap up this video here today, because when you look at it from this perspective, where like COD itself is like actually at the bottom of Activision's priority list, like all they really care about is Call of Duty Mobile, Warzone, and microtransactions, it's like, man, That's really depressing to think about, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts and your perspective on this entire situation down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you so much for all your continued support of my channel, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.